What if I told you that the secret to becoming someone's first choice is to never seek selection at all? It may seem counterintuitive, but consider this. Have you ever noticed how people obsess over things that seem out of reach and cherish things that feel rare? Now, ask yourself if you live like a rare gem or like something that is always available and waiting. Let me start with a powerful thought experiment. Picture a room filled with treasures. Among the many shining objects, there's one that stands out. A flawless diamond sitting under a spotlight. People flock to it, marveling at its brilliance. No one needs to be told it's valuable. They feel it. Now imagine someone picking up the diamond and tossing it into a pile of pebbles. Would the diamond lose its worth? Of course not, but it would seem less remarkable, lost among the ordinary. Here's the hard truth. Too many people throw themselves into the pile of pebbles, hoping someone will dig through to find them. But that's not how this works. Stop blending in and start living like the rare, radiant, and undeniably valuable diamond you are. Why are you waiting for someone to choose you? Why are you putting your happiness, your confidence, and your worth in their hands? The truth is, you're not an item on a menu. Waiting for someone to decide if they're in the mood for you today is the whole point, and it's time to start acting accordingly. However, let's face it, something feels off. Perhaps you're in a relationship where you're always the one making plans, reaching out and trying harder. Or perhaps you're trying to get someone's attention, but no matter what you do, you feel like a backup plan instead of the main event, and it hurts. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The issue isn't that you're not doing enough. Rather, you're doing too much, unintentionally sending the message that you're not worth prioritizing. The good news is that you can change that, and the first step is to flip the script, not by chasing, but by becoming someone they can't help but chase. Think of a flame. It doesn't beg the moth to come closer. It doesn't dim itself to make the moth feel comfortable. It burns brightly, unapologetically, and the moth it's drawn in helplessly captivated by the light and warmth. Now think about your life. Are you the flame shining with confidence and self-worth, or are you the moth chasing after someone else's light? The key to becoming a priority isn't about convincing someone to notice you. It's about becoming so undeniably radiant that they can't look away. You don't have to plead for their attention when you're the one commanding the room, simply by being your authentic self. Here's something counterintuitive. When you pull back, you create space for them to lean in. This isn't about playing games, it's about reclaiming your energy. When you stop over-investing, you send a clear signal. I value myself too much to overstay where I'm not valued. Imagine this. You're a chef serving the finest dish, but instead of savoring it, your guest keeps looking at their phone. What do? You don't keep serving more until they notice you take the plate away. Suddenly they understand what they're lacking. The same principle holds true for relationships. If you cease providing excessive support, it can lead them to perceive you as absent, and this absence of energy can be more impactful than mere words. Epictetus wisely observed that we suffer from our judgments, not our life events. When you stop seeing their lack of interest as a reflection of your value, you regain your power and show them that your attention is earned rather than freely given. Imagine a stormy sea with waves crashing violently against a small boat. The sailor, lost and confused, scans. They search the horizon for anything that could lead them to safety, and then they see a lighthouse in the shadows. Your energy should feel like that. The lighthouse stands tall and firm, its glow piercing through the tumult. It doesn't move or plead with the sailor to approach. It just shines its unwavering presence, leading the way in relationships. Lighthouse is dependable, steady, and unfazed by the chaos around you. It doesn't search for lost ships or dim its light to comfort a sailor. Instead, it stays rooted, knowing that its value lies in being a beacon rather than a follower. When you stop chasing after someone, you let them feel the power of your steady presence. They will come to you, not because you beg for their attention, but because they recognize the irreplaceable stability you bring in a world of turbulence. By embodying the calm in the midst of the storm, you'll go from being an option to becoming the person they can't imagine navigating life without. This may be the most important thing to remember. Before anyone can choose you, you must choose yourself. When you put your own happiness and fulfillment first, you send a strong message. Value your time and concentrate on your personal development. It's not like the sun begs the planets to orbit it. Its gravity is too strong. I am worth it whether you see it or not. The path to becoming someone's priority isn't about trying harder or giving more. Rather, it's about stepping into your power, radiating self-worth, and letting them rise to meet you. Don't chase or beg. Just be calm, confident, and irreplaceable. As Seneca stated, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. That's what happens when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You naturally attract people to you because they can't resist the light you radiate, not because you need them. Choose yourself and watch as others feel compelled to follow suit. The words you speak to yourself shape the reality you create. Communicate your worth and watch as the world responds by affirming that you are not someone else's choice. The priority is me. If this message resonated with you, we kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to provide you with life-changing content like this every single day. Are you prepared to move from option to priority? Write this in the comments section below to control your power, make it yours, and allow these words to direct your energy and change your relationships. The trip. The journey starts with a single decision to recognize your worth and inform others about the potential consequences. First, sculpt your identity like a rare masterpiece. Have you ever been in a museum and been unable to take your eyes off of a single masterpiece that silently demands your attention, not through clamor or desperation, but simply by virtue of its presence? Now, picture yourself as that masterpiece in someone's life. What the philosopher Michelangelo once remarked, "Every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it is the task of the sculptor to discover it." The truth is that you can sculpt yourself into someone so rare and extraordinary that others feel privileged just to have a place in your world, but it starts with how you view yourself. Are you treating your identity like a work of art, or something hastily thrown together for someone else's approval? Those who have shed their doubts and insecurities to reveal their true, radiant selves attract people. Imagine your identity as a block of marble, brimming with potential, awaiting your unveiling. If you feel like an option in someone's life right now, it's not because you're not valuable. Rather, it's because you haven't yet unveiled the masterpiece within you. The most admired pieces are those that have a subdued, indisputable charm, rather than those that shout for attention. Charm. Similarly, when you focus on cultivating your identity, confidence and passions, you will discover your limits. Your limits. Let's adopt a metaphor that works well here. The difference between being an option and a priority is not how much you give to others, but how much you spend on yourself. You don't need to beg for someone's attention. Your very existence will attract them. Think of yourself as a blank canvas on which every experience, decision, and belief is a brushstroke. If you allow other people to determine how you paint, the canvas will appear disorganized, muddled, and ultimately uninteresting. However, if you take charge and make bold, deliberate choices, you produce a work of art that demands respect and attention. Being a priority in someone's life means becoming a person who doesn't need to convince others to choose you, as your presence and energy are undeniable. Knowing your emotions is one of the best ways to define yourself. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "You have power over your mind, not over events outside of it." Stoicism teaches us that self-control is the ultimate power. Recognize this, and you will find strength when you show a unique strength that people naturally admire by remaining unfazed by the commotion around you. Imagine a sculptor painstakingly working on a slab of marble. They don't rush or allow outside distractions to dictate their approach. This isn't about being cold or distant. Rather, it's about demonstrating that your sense of self-worth remains constant no matter how people treat you. You should approach your identity like the chisel, which moves purposefully. Make thoughtful decisions with your time and energy, and cut out the aspects of yourself that no longer support your fears or doubts. Continuous affirmation and the ability to showcase your strong, self-assured core are essential. The more you work on yourself, the more people will recognize your worth without you having to explicitly express it. Here's another way to look at it. A rare gemstone doesn't try to prove its value to anyone. It just exists, shining in its inherent brilliance. The jeweler doesn't think it's valuable. They already know it is. You are that gemstone, but only if you decide to polish yourself instead of waiting for someone else to recognize your value. Instead of spending time trying to meet someone else's expectations, start asking yourself, what aspects of yourself are dull? How can I enhance my brilliance to eliminate the need for selection and instead embrace self-initiative? The process of developing who you are is not about being chosen, excellence. It's about being authentic, accepting who you are, and not trying to fit into someone else's mold. When you put your growth, passions, and happiness first, you naturally radiate a magnetic energy that makes people realize that losing you is not an option. So, let me ask you this. What kind of masterpiece are you going to create? Will you continue to blend into the background in the hopes that someone will notice you? Or will you step into your power and create a presence so unforgettable that they can't help but prioritize you? The choice is yours. Here's an affirmation to help you. I am crafting my identity into a unique, radiant, and indisputable masterpiece. Put this in the comments section to assert your authority and allow these words to guide you on your path to becoming someone's top priority. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if this message resonated with you. We are committed to producing information that helps you change your life and relationships, and your encouragement keeps us going. Let's develop together. You are more than just a choice. You excel at crafting the second chapter that captivates readers, making them want to read it repeatedly. Have you ever completed reading a book and then found yourself going back to a particular chapter repeatedly? The narrative's most alive and meaningful chapter stays with you no matter how many pages you read before it. What if you could become that chapter in someone's life, the part of their story they can't stop revisiting no matter where else life takes them? This is the essence of becoming unforgettable, of shifting from being a fleeting moment in someone's journey to being the page they hold closest to their heart. There's a reason certain chapters leave such a profound impact. They offer something unique, something irreplaceable. They resonate deeply not because they beg for attention, but because they contain a depth that can't be skimmed or forgotten in relationships. This is the energy you need to cultivate. People don't reread the parts of their life that feel ordinary or predictable. They reread the parts that challenge, inspire, and touch them in ways no one else can. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, inspire and touch them in ways no one else can. Try to write yourself into their story in a way that makes an impression that lasts. If you fill your pages with repetitive, uninteresting details that are always being explained or pursued, you run the risk of being a chapter they quickly scan. Be the chapter that piques interest. Let me give you an example. A classic painting hanging in an art gallery. Most visitors glance at it, nod courteously and walk away, but a few pause, staring enthralled as they attempt to solve its mysteries. They mentally focus on this one, which holds a piece of their soul in the most exquisite way. The layers of the painting hold its force. It doesn't shout or demand attention. The brush's colors. The key is to show up as someone who offers moments of connection that others can't, not by oversharing or overwhelming them, but by creating experiences that resonate so deeply that they replay them in their minds. For instance, instead of making predictable gestures, surprise them with something thoughtful and personal. Instead of engaging in superficial conversations, delve into topics that make them feel seen and understood. These moments become emotional anchors, tying them to you in ways they won't even realize until they find themselves drawn back to you repeatedly. Strokes the story, silently conveys that's what you must become in their life. Stoicism teaches us that depth is more important than quantity. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "Don't waste any more time debating what a good man should be." This is true in this case. Stop putting forth endless effort to establish your value and instead concentrate on being a presence that makes them value you. Don't attempt to be everywhere in their story. Instead, be the chapter they never want to end. Here is another viewpoint. When you become the chapter they can't stop reading, you create moments, emotions, and connections that resonate so deeply that they feel compelled to revisit you, not because you're chasing them, but because you've left an irreplaceable impression. Imagine a song you love, one that you play repeatedly because it resonates with you in a way that other songs don't. Mark presence is key to this change. Focus on them, put your phone away, and make them feel like the most important person in the room. But here's the catch. Remember that being genuine, unvarnished, and purposeful makes you memorable, not flawless. Don't let your presence become routine. Instead, strike a balance between intimacy and mystery so they can experience the full extent of who you are without it all at once. Allow your words and deeds to convey your own spirit. I challenge you today to stop worrying about how to hold their attention and instead ask yourself, what chapter I'm writing in their life right now? Is it one they'll want to revisit? You don't need to try harder. You just need to concentrate on becoming someone who's impossible to forget. They won't forget what you said or did in passing, but they won't forget how you made them feel. This is how you become a part of their story, a chapter they will revisit for years to come. Write this in the comments to assert your authority, and let these words direct your path to become unforgettable. I am the chapter that people will find themselves drawn back to. Third, remember that you are the chapter someone will never want to end. If this message resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are putting our all into producing content that helps you become the best version of yourself, and your support fuels our mission. Make your quiet remarks your strongest ones. Have you ever observed that sometimes calm confidence speaks louder than the loudest voice in the room? The most attention-grabbing, unsaid strength silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a language of its own, one that speaks volumes when used with intention. What if instead of constantly trying to explain yourself, prove yourself, or fight for attention, you let your silence do the talking? What if, by holding back, you could draw someone closer, making them lean in wonder and finally choose you? Not because you demanded it, but because they couldn't ignore the power of your stillness, as Lao wisely observed. Silence is a source of great strength in relationships. This couldn't be more true when you stop chasing and start mastering the art of quiet confidence. You shift the dynamic instead of constantly reacting or seeking their attention. You let them feel the weight of your absence. Silence, when used wisely, isn't a void. It's a mirror. It forces the other person to reflect on what they've been taking for granted. It creates a space where your value becomes undeniable, simply because it's no longer constantly in their face. Imagine this. The kind of silence that occurs when the music at a symphony reaches a dramatic crescendo and then abruptly stops is electric, isn't it? It evokes a sense of anticipation, compelling you to savor each moment as you anticipate the unfolding events. You need to understand that it's not about being passive or detached, but about being intentional when you stop filling every moment with noise. People start paying attention to the quiet moments. They begin to lean in, drawn by the power of what you're not saying. Think about how we respond to a full inbox, a buzzing phone, or someone who talks endlessly. It's overwhelming, isn't it? Now think about how refreshing it feels when someone communicates with precision, choosing their words carefully and leaving space for you to process. That's what silence does. It creates a contrast, a break in the noise. When you stop trying to explain yourself, defend yourself, or beg for someone's attention, your silence becomes an invitation for them to step forward and meet you halfway in relationships. Silence isn't about ignoring the other person or giving them the cold shoulder. It's about stepping back to show that your value doesn't depend on constant validation. As Rumi beautifully said, listen to silence. It has so much to say. By stepping into silence, you give the other person space to realize how much your presence means. You let them feel the loss of your energy, your voice, your attention, and in that absence, your worth becomes undeniable. Let's use a metaphor to make this clearer. Imagine you're a lighthouse. When the storm comes, the ships may drift away, distracted by the waves or their own path, but they will remember your light and your silence. Just as the lighthouse isn't passive but rather intentional. It serves as a beacon, a reminder of your strength and stability. Standing tall by the ocean, you don't chase after the ships shouting directions or begging for them to notice you. Instead, you simply shine steady and unshaken, guiding them home. When you stop explaining or overreacting, you demonstrate that you trust yourself and that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. This magnetic inner strength shifts the focus from what you give to how they treat you. Suddenly, they become the ones who are pondering, challenging, and attempting to reconcile. They begin to perceive your silence as a chance to take charge and reclaim the privilege of your attention. This is a powerful way to think about it. The beauty of silence is that it gives you control without forcing anything. Silence is like a blank page in a book. It's not the absence of story. It's the space where the reader's imagination filled in the gaps in your relationships when you stop talking endlessly and start creating moments of stillness. You leave room for the other person to think, reflect, and feel. They'll begin to realize how much they miss your words, your energy and your presence in that silence. They'll hear what you've been trying to say all along. The journey from being an option to becoming a priority isn't about shouting louder or doing more. It's about trusting that your silence has power. It's about stepping back and letting your absence speak for itself. When you master the art of silence, you create a space that invites others to value you, not because you demanded it, but because they felt it. Here's the affirmation to carry with you. My silence speaks louder than words. It shows my worth. Write this in the comments to claim your power and make this truth your own. If this message resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your encouragement fuels. Our goal is to produce content that improves your life and relationships while serving as a constant reminder of your value. Number 4. Create a life so complete they want to be a part of it. One impactful lesson at a time. The secret to becoming a priority isn't about pleading with someone to notice you. Rather, it's about creating a life so rich and full that they feel compelled to be a part of it. Imagine entering a garden, not just any old patch of land, but a flourishing paradise full of vibrant flowers, strong trees, and the soothing sound of water flowing. It's the kind of place that draws you in, where you can't help but feel at peace, captivated by its beauty and abundance. Sen once remarked that when opportunity and preparation collide, luck results. Creating a life filled with purpose, joy, and passion transforms you into a person people want to prioritize, not because you're chasing them, but because they can't resist the energy you radiate. Rather than being a space waiting for someone else to occupy, your life should feel like an invitation to something extraordinary. Imagine your life as a bustling marketplace. When it's quiet, empty, and unremarkable, no one stays. But when it's vibrant, exciting, and has a captivating rhythm, people are drawn to it and want to learn more and become a part of the story. You need to live that kind of life to create a vibrant, fulfilling existence that inspires others to follow suit. Take a moment to reflect. This does not entail packing your schedule with pointless activities to appear busy. Rather, it entails designing a life that is full of things that truly make you content and make your presence compelling. Imagine your life if you put as much effort into yourself as you do into attracting others. Would you pursue a goal you've been putting off, take up a new hobby, or strengthen your friendships? When you concentrate on creating a life that excites you, it sends a strong message. They should prioritize you because they want to be in your life, not on demand. Think of it like a tree. Your life should feel like that tree, rooted abundantly and thriving when you invest in yourself, your passions, and your growth. You become magnetic people who prioritize what inspires and energizes them rather than what is empty. It stands tall in an open field, not chasing birds and begging them to land on its branches, but simply growing toward the sky with strength and beauty that naturally draws birds to it. Make yourself the sun in your universe, shining brightly and attracting people with your warmth. Here is an affirmation to help you. My life is vibrant, full, and magnetic. Instead of waiting for someone to validate your worth or prove your worthiness, focus on creating a life so full of purpose, joy, and love that the right person feels honored to share it with you. The priority is me. If this message resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You may also put this in the comments to claim it as your truth. We're putting in endless effort to provide you with transformative insights that will help you change both yourself and your relationships. Let's grow together, one strong lesson at a time. Number 5. Let your absence have a greater impact than your presence. Have you ever seen how much more loudly someone's absence can reverberate through your thoughts than their continuous presence in relationships? If you've ever felt like you're an afterthought, as if someone only acknowledges you when you're actively there, the space you leave behind can frequently say more than any action or word ever could. It's time to step back and let your absence speak for you. When you do nothing, nothing remains undone. As the philosopher Lao once stated, this isn't about giving up on effort. Rather, it's about learning to practice self-control. Being present all the time, reaching out, or making yourself available all the time devalues your presence. When utilized well, absence fosters a state of curiosity, longing, and introspection. People cannot miss what they have never had the chance to lose. For instance, in a desert, a glass of water may seem like the most valuable thing in the world, but in a rainforest, it's just one item among many that people tend to forget. Similarly, if you are constantly present and giving, someone may not fully understand your value, but if you step back just enough for them to notice the difference, you become that refreshing thing, unreplaceable. They cannot survive without oasis, and the secret isn't completely vanishing. In other words, Rumi, Don't make yourself so available that you are invisible. Instead, create space, invite reflection, and give people a chance to remember how important you are. Being constantly accessible may lead to people taking you for granted. Absence lets others experience life without you, even for a short while, and they realize what they're missing. Overplaying a beloved song diminishes its impact, doesn't it? However, if you give it some time and don't listen to it for a long time, it will feel new, nostalgic, and significant when you hear it again. Your presence should have the same depth and significance as that music. It should be something they cherish, not something they take for granted. You must first respect yourself. This isn't manipulation. Otherwise, you run the risk of allowing your absence to overshadow your presence. Your absence serves as an act of empowerment, not withdrawal, by proving to them and to yourself that your time and energy are valuable resources. It's a way of saying, I know what I bring to the table, and I trust you to recognize it. So, what's the next step? Take a small step back from your overgiving patterns and watch as others start to notice the void and make the effort to fill it. When you're not around all the time, they'll have no choice but to consider what your presence really means to them. Here's an affirmation to help solidify this mindset. My absence amplifies my value. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Write this in the comments to assert your authority and remind yourself that sometimes stepping back is the best course of action. We put in endless effort to provide courses that improve your relationships and give you the confidence to take charge of your life. Your encouragement feeds our enthusiasm, and together we can become our best selves. We identify 6 creative moments that leave a lasting impression on our minds. What if I told you that the key to becoming unforgettable isn't large gestures or continuous attention, but rather the little deliberate moments you make? Consider this long after the talks fade and the everyday routine becomes monotonous. Some memories cling to us, such as a well-timed word, a gesture that made us feel seen, or an intensely meaningful moment of connection. As Rumi once said, don't be satisfied with stories about how things have gone with others. These moments aren't random, they're crafted, and if you want to go from being someone they think about occasionally to someone they can't stop thinking about, you must learn to create moments that echo in their mind. Discover your own myth, your ability to deviate from the norm and create something unique is what enables you to create unforgettable moments. This is about being purposefully genuine and present in a way that genuinely connects with the other person. It's not just about showing up, it's about creating an environment where your presence becomes a memory they relive again and again. It doesn't mean drama or extravagance. You want to leave a lasting impression on them. You want your presence, your energy, and the moments you spend together to serve as a remembrance long after the tide has washed away everything else. Picture yourself strolling along a beach with the waves lapping gently at your feet when all of a sudden a unique shell catches your eye. Its shape, color, and texture are unlike anything else you've seen. You grab it and can't stop thinking about it after leaving the beach. Creating these moments involves more than just being there. It also involves intentional engagement and emotional depth. Use words that are uplifting when you speak. When you behave, let your movements convey consideration and care on a deeper level than the surface. Seneca asserts that a man lacking in relationships is not one who has too little, but rather one who yearns for more. The Stoics taught us that our self-presentation holds true power. Consider this. Providing more meaning is more important than providing more material possessions or attention. What life events have stuck with you? Was it a present from someone, the way they listened to you when you felt invisible, a fancy meal, or the way they made you laugh so hard you forgot your problems? Emotional resonance, not monetary. Worth is what makes those moments stick with us. Being totally present, demonstrating genuine concern, and providing an authentic connection, something they can't find elsewhere, can have the same long-lasting effect. So, how do you create memories that stick in their head? Start by being intentional rather than allowing interactions to happen by accident. Consider how you can leave them feeling appreciated, inspired, or understood. It could be as straightforward as recalling a brief comment they made and bringing it up at the appropriate moment, or it could be as simple as writing them a note that makes them feel better when they least expect it, or even just establishing a private rather than awkward moment of shared silence. The important thing is to leave them with lasting emotional depth. This is the reality. When you create deeply meaningful moments, you become the memory people carry with them, the person they measure others against, and the presence they seek when the world feels overwhelming. People don't forget how you make them feel. Say this affirmation with me. We're working tirelessly to bring you lessons that help you grow, connect, and thrive in every aspect of your life. You're not just an option. If this message inspired you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I create unforgettable moments that remain etched in their hearts and minds. Write it in the comments to claim it as your truth. The echo they will never forget is you. Number 7 should be the anchor in their storm. Have you ever seen a ship stay tethered and steady by its anchor during a storm when the waves crash and the winds howl? Now, picture yourself as that anchor, not for a ship, but for someone's chaotic life and turbulent emotions when everything seems to be falling apart, and you become the steady force they can turn to when they crave calm in relationships. Being the anchor doesn't mean solving all of their problems. It means radiating stability, strength, and an unwavering presence that makes you indispensable. Seneca once asserted that friction polishes a gem and trials perfect a man. Life storms don't break us. Instead, they reveal our true selves. When you show that you can handle hardship and come out unscathed, people will naturally prioritize you and seek you out for your irreplaceable and grounded energy. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse on a stormy night. Instead of chasing ships or shouting commands into the void, the lighthouse just stands tall, its light piercing the darkness to provide direction and comfort. The lighthouse provides something ships need, not because it demands attention. The kind of presence you want to foster in your relationships is clarity in the middle of chaos. Be the lighthouse that attracts them with composed assurance, rather than the storm that amplifies the cacophony. Being someone's anchor means mastering your emotions, not being flawless or repressing them. When you maintain your composure in the face of conflict or uncertainty, you communicate that you are a safe haven, a place of calm and security. This does not imply compromising your needs or becoming their emotional support system. Rather, it means demonstrating to them that you are always dependable and rooted in your own self-worth. When you embody this energy, you transform from an option to the person they prioritize and trust. Above all else, let's use another metaphor. A storm uproots, tosses, and forgets the weaker trees, but the deeply rooted tree not only bends, but also weathers the storm, standing tall. When the storm passes, you embody the deeply rooted tree, drawing people towards you due to your unique strength, derived from maintaining your identity amidst chaos. Epictetus said fate doesn't matter, but how you handle life's challenges. Your uniqueness emerges when you learn to navigate through life's challenges without succumbing to them. This makes you indispensable. They will realize that in a world full of ephemeral connections, you are the constant they cannot afford to lose. So, how can you become the stabilizing force in their life? By first focusing on developing inner peace, emotional strength, and a purpose that is independent of other people's approval, You transform into someone they always choose, because losing you feels like losing their foundation. Here is your affirmation to carry with you. I am the anchor in their storm, steady, strong, and irreplaceable. If this message resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Use the comments section to declare your strength and assert your power in relationships. Use this as a guide to maintain composure in the midst of chaos. Your encouragement motivates us to continue developing transformative teachings that will empower you to take charge of your life. Together, we will create a more robust and satisfying future that is based on authenticity and self-worth.